Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another brilliant African dawn. It is 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun, as you can see, is just peeping up over the horizon there. It's turning the horizon orange and peach and any number of other beautiful colors. It's about 21 degrees here, which in Fahrenheit, if you happen to live in the 18th century, is about 60-ish. 70, sorry, it's about 70. I'm just getting confirmation there. My name is James Hendry, and on camera today we have got Brian Joubert. There we go, known as the Thumb. On the other vehicle, we have Peter Pretorius all the way from Walvis Bay in Namibia, and he's being filmed by Djuma. In the final control, we have about 75 highly capable women, and they're doing various very complicated things that I cannot understand. Most importantly, Nicky Austin is in my ear telling me what to do today. In the tent, of course, is Hayden Turner, with another great plethora of people helping him out. And on Bushwalk this morning is Scott Dyson, if I'm not very much mistaken. Now, just a quick reminder to you, we will only be broadcasting this particular broadcast for an hour, and then we're going into our National Geographic rehearsals. Please do bear with us during this time. I know it's a little bit frustrating for those of you who spend so much of your time and gain so much enjoyment out of spending extended periods with us here in the wild, but we will be back to normal pretty soon. Well, as of Friday, we'll be back to normal pretty much. And you can enjoy the TV broadcast with us from Friday. So thank you for your patience. Please carry on sending through your questions and comments. It's lovely to hear from you. Now, why we're in this area is quite interesting. We were driving around yesterday, Brian and I. We had a very frustrating time technologically, and we finished the show on the Djuma Dam wall. And then we reversed back, and Brian said, stop, there's an animal behind us. And I said, Brian, what is it? I was very frustrated. I wanted to go home. He said, it's a leopard. And it was a leopard, lo and behold. It was Mvula, we think. Well, Nicky Austin identified him as Mvula. I wasn't sure. Brian also thinks he was probably Mvula. And what we're going to do is just drive around here. This is quite far to the western side of his territory. He hasn't been around here for some time. Brian, when was the last time you saw him in this particular area? Yeah, don't think ever. So, I mean, he's quite far into, he's kind of on the border of Tingana's territory. Very nice. I'm really happy to see him around here, and I'm hoping that he's perhaps seeking out Karula, and maybe they will be mating, and maybe they will then produce two more offspring like Quarantine and Djuma, which gave us such immense joy over the last little while. Their third birthday, of course, is coming up next month, I think. Right, here we go. Remember, you are on a live safari. If you happen to have stumbled across this website while you're being an insomniac in the United States, or if you're perhaps or even an insomniac in Britain for that matter, or somebody at work in Australia who's not very engaged in the particular boardroom chatter that's going on, you are on a live safari. What we're seeing is what you're seeing, real time. So please send us through your questions, hashtag Safari Live, or questions at WildEarthTV. Fascinating stuff here. Thank you, Chris Rowe and Shamel. You've given us information that Tingana, who's of course the other male old, was mating on Arathusa at about 10:45 last night. Now, I'd love to know. It's kind of the join of their territories around the Arathusa Dam. Northerly direction. He looked like he was probably going to be marking his territory, so we'll keep an eye out and see if we can't spot him, but I suspect he's probably gone north into Buffelshoek unless he's managed to kill something around here, which will be very exciting indeed. So we'll just slowly amble along, hopefully see some tracks, or maybe an impala dangling from a tree. Kevin, you apparently also been watching the Djuma Dam cam, and you heard lions roaring around 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Kevin, I think that sounds really exciting. I don't suppose you could tell which direction they were coming from. I know that we are modifying the microphone fairly soon so that you will be able to tell direction. We've got stereo speakers on your desk or wherever it is that you listen to us. You'll be able to hear which direction the lions were roaring. But we will definitely look out for lion tracks. We had those Chimongwe lions yesterday, 2 young females and a young male. Definitely wouldn't be them roaring. They want to attract as little attention as possible. And there's so many males lurking about the place at the moment. Just fascinating stuff going on. And for those of you who weren't watching yesterday, we didn't see any of this, of course, because none of them came on to Djuma. But there were 3 of the skybed males on Buffalo's Hook. They're a coalition of 9 male lions who come from the northern Mandileti. They seem to be pushing south now. 3 of the Birminghams were on Torchwood. One of them seems to be injured, so he's had a run-in either with his brothers or with perhaps the skybed males, I'm not sure. And if there was a female there, a female mating with the skybed chaps on Buffalo's Hook. So it's all happening. Hopefully, some of those skybed males and the Birminghams might have a meeting here on this wonderful reserve called Djuma. Right, well, we check out tracks for Mvula. Let's head across to the bushwalk with Scott. He's got some interesting little creatures to show you.
Hello and welcome to the bushwalk. Jean-Andre is on camera and we are really looking forward to the adventure this morning. We've kind of placed ourselves in a position where hopefully we're going to be able to assist Brent, Jeffrey and Bright, who are on tracking team, as they search for Karula, a female leopard. So we're also lurking in a kind of similar area. But while we wait until we find any sign of this leopard, be it from her tracks or alarm calls, we're going to show you some other little interesting critters along the way. Now, the first ones we bumped into have been some harvested termites. And Jean-Andre, I think these ones down here probably going to be the best ones for you. I'm just going to pull this plant down here, and you can see quite a few of them there moving along one of their little highways that they've built. And as ants and termites move from A to B, they'll leave little pheromones on the ground, and that's how they can understand where they're going. If you look into the actual hole, you can see they're about to transport a massive meal down into their burrows, and that's a leaf that they'll probably chew up. And it is a testament to how strong these animals are. We often speak of how strong leopards are with their ability to be able to hoist kills up into trees. But think of the strength of these small little termites carrying massive plants and leaves down into these holes. And not only are they strong, but they're also incredibly useful for our ecosystem as they process so much plant matter that the other animals will not feed on. So they are hard at work doing great things for the African wilderness. And these are the harvested termites. You get many different types of termites. These ones, as you can see, live below the ground. Now, if we take a short walk from here, there's a massive termite mound that I'd like to show you. So come along. It's a very still morning and perfect walking conditions. To give you an idea of how still it is, I'm just going to get my ash pad going, and you can see it's absolutely dead still. The ash isn't blowing in any direction. It's still nice and cool, which is also useful because it can start heating up a lot. And the termite mound that I'd like to show you is just up here. And I think we should probably actually climb up it and get a view of the rising sun, which is behind us. It's such an invigorating experience being on foot, and it's so good to have you guys joining me. It's important to remember that it can be dangerous though, so if at any stage something does happen, please listen to me. I'll talk you through what we need to do. And that's one of the most important things when taking a walking safari, is to ensure that your guests have faith in you and that they believe you are not going to lead them into any dangerous situations. Now, this termite mound is quite steep, but Jean-Andre is going for it, so let's carry on, and I might need to give him a hand. No, he's a powerful individual that I'm very happy to be embarking on this endeavor with, and so should all of us. So for those of you who were on yesterday's sunset safari, you would have got spoiled with an incredible sighting of a boomslang, and Jean-Andre's camera work was quite phenomenal there. So now that we're up here, you may as well take a look around. I'm going to let Jean-Andre do his magic, and I'm going to stop and just listen for a while as Jean-Andre takes you on a little bit of a tour of our vantage points. Now from up here, you get an idea of how leopards will see the world and why they do so readily come up onto these termite mounds. It's a great view, and they get to possibly see prey and any potential threats from this elevated area. And now that we can see that the coast is clear, we're going to continue on and hopefully find something for you guys in the near future. But in the meantime, back to Peter and enjoy.
Sorry, I'm repositioning the car here. Morning guys, welcome as always to the Sunrise Safari. Let's move a little bit. Beautiful day, looking forward to it. There's a spider web. And we bumped into Brent Leo Smith here en route.
Morning, everyone.
It's quite a name, the whole thing.
Yeah,
Brent Leo Smith. You know, it's like Rodnan Gala, you know, it's like it's a proper name. Guys, now we were just going to give you a bit of an update with regards to leopard. All of us are always looking for leopard, but few people look for them harder and better than this man. So we thought we'll say hello together. My name is Peter Pretorius, VM behind camera, more spider webs. And so Tingana and Shadow, I presume, obviously.
And Arathusa, yeah, from what I can work out. Or it could be Anderson. You never know. It could be that monster male that's
never seen him, huh? I just heard about the size of him.
I mean, he hoisted a whole baby giraffe into a tree. I mean, he's a beast.
But you see, you could take it by the head and then hook it and then go down and bring the feet up. So like in two sections.
No, but on Djuma, we've got what we think are Karula's tracks here. She's zigzagging around the boundary. Hopefully she does eventually come in. You said you saw some tracks down the
down in the riverbed, and VM saw them closer to camp as well. So I presume she's headed up.
Perfect.
Back
we can stop fiddling around here and get to where the tracks are more fresh.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go to Arathusa just in case they're around. Also, I think Chris Rogue, I know, is one of the people that spotted it. Was quarter to 11 o'clock last night at Arathusa. That's the time frame.
So hopefully they haven't moved too far if they are.
Yeah, well, they might be preoccupied. So hopefully they're paying attention to what they're doing rather than where they're going. So
this is Tingana, the poor guy. He's been at it for the last 3 months solidly.
Yeah, well, we need more leopard.
Yep.
Brent, good morning.
Good luck.
Guys, let's go look around towards the western side. Here we go. Got a new starter mechanism in this vehicle as well. Basically, as always, lots to look forward to. I'm sure all of us, all of you, all of us that have done many drives before love the mornings. If this is maybe your first or one of your first drives with us, the mornings and the afternoons obviously are the two best times for safaris, which is why we do it then, obviously. But the mornings are always exciting because in the afternoons you might have some idea of what to expect from the morning's experience. But when you go out in the mornings like this, everything's new. It's like a new newspaper coming out, and you can, every street corner, have a look at it, look at the tracks, look at the signs, see what might be out there. But there's something interesting for you to go to shortly. Basically, we're going to move along. As you can see, just for interest's sake, this pole that you can see, that's because we're on one of the main roads now, going east-west. And it's basically the entrance road for guests and vehicles coming into some of the lodges further towards the eastern side. So we are on a sort of a main road. We're heading towards Arathusa, basically to go see if we can maybe find this leopard. That's what we'll be up to. Speaking of leopard, I think James might have something pretty to show you.
Look, it's a leopard! Orchid. A leopard orchid, everybody. The first flowering one that I've seen this year. It's, well, it's normally a sort of a Christmassy type flowering plant, but it's now November. We're pushing towards December, so we'll call it for our US viewers a Thanksgiving plant. Beautiful epiphyte that grows in the tops of many of the trees here, usually dead. and it grows from a pod that I tried to plant in a knobthorn tree the other day, but unfortunately a squirrel ate it. I found the dirty thief while I was trying to see if there were any roots coming out of my pod. Unfortunately, the squirrel stole it. That one was not stolen by a squirrel, of course, and it is now starting to flower. There's beautiful yellow flowers, and I did go to the base of the tree and see if I could get one, but unfortunately that tree is beyond my climbing capabilities, and so I was unable to get hold of it. Right. Let's carry on. Nice, exciting stuff with all the tracks of the leopards that are around the place. And everybody, if you hear the radio going, it is because we're having the odd radio trouble. So I'm on a handheld radio here, and the game drive radio is on open communications. So you will hear people talking every so often. That's Scott talking at the moment with Peter. They're trying to find out what's going on, what updates there were with the leopards last night. So our plan now is going to be to pop onto the Wilders cut line, head off to the east-western side of it, and maybe go and see if we can't find what's going on at the hyena den. I haven't spent any time with that new little cub, so it would be great to go and spend a little bit of time there. An interesting one from Jane in Ontario, who's obviously listening very carefully. Jane, excuse me. Jane, you are asking about hyenas, and given that the 6-month-old is a daughter of the matriarch, you say, what happens if the matriarch has another daughter? Where do they fall in the pecking order? Given that I told you the 6-month-old would probably inherit her mother's status. Jane, I think it's pretty much primogeniture, which means that the eldest daughter will achieve accede to the throne of the matriarchy, but I don't think so. The youngsters probably don't, the younger ones, and I think that they will then fall down the pecking order as time goes on. So exactly the same as it would happen in a royal family in humanity. If the king inherits, his brother doesn't get a huge amount, and then the king's sons will take over after that, and the same thing happens with the hyenas. So the oldest daughter probably of the current matriarch will inherit her status, and that will then be passed on not to the other daughters of the current matriarch, but to the new daughters of the new matriarch. Nice one, Jane, thank you. So we will be heading off to an advert break now. Not a real one, actually, we're just practicing that. But during our long broadcasts next week, we will do advert breaks during the 3-hour show. So see you just now. Thumb was the final control, not you, everybody. We're now in an advert break, and astonishingly, you're still with us, of course. Very interesting one. Now, I was sitting in the tent a little while back, and we had a mushroom collected by Louise. She found a mushroom. And Jane, Dorothy, you'd like to know if there are any consumable mushrooms out here. I don't know of any, I think most of them are probably toxic. Brian, do you know of any wild mushrooms that you can eat out here? No. I don't think there are a huge number of edible mushrooms here. I know there are some in the Cape. There are quite a few species in the Cape that you can eat that grow in the groves of exotic plane trees that have been planted, especially around the winelands. I certainly wouldn't. There must be some out here that aren't toxic, but I've seen a couple of things that I certainly wouldn't put anywhere near my mouth. So, interesting one, Jane, I'm not sure. Now we're driving along basically a fire break. So the Buffels or cut line is to the north of us. We're driving along what was a fire break, and so you can see to the north of us it's a bit clearer than it is to the south. And that's basically as a fire break. It's not a very well maintained fire break, I must say, so I'm not sure how effective it would be. But that's why this road is a bit bumpy. But it's just quite nice not to drive on the big road that is the Buffels or cut line. A bit of adventure driving, you know. So a very nice question here from Marilyn in California. Hello, Marilyn. Marilyn, you were watching yesterday morning when the 3 lions came up on the hyena den. And you want to know why it is that the hyenas didn't seem to be particularly intimidated by those lions and why they didn't attack the hyenas. A couple of reasons, Marilyn. It's a very good question. First of all, those are 3 sub-adult lions, so they're youngsters, they're inexperienced, they don't really know what's going on. They definitely weren't scared of the hyenas too much. They came into the hyena den, they approached it. Then they suddenly found themselves surrounded. The hyenas fanned out and surrounded them, and there were 7 adult hyenas there. And I don't think that the lions would have been aware of as to how many hyenas there were, and that would have made them slightly intimidated. They also are inexperienced, they don't really understand. The hyenas did surround them. One of them actually came in and nipped one of the lions on the bottom. And I think that the hyenas are also very fast, you see, so there's no reason for them to be afraid of the lion. The only thing to be afraid of in a situation like that is the fact that the cubs are down the hole, and if that hole is very big and perhaps not as well protected as it might be, the lions could have got hold of those cubs. That wasn't the case. So I think that there was just no need for them to be particularly intimidated by 3 young lions. They could have run away had the lions pushed through an attack. Given the ratio that there was there, 2 hyenas to 3 young lions, I don't think that was a particularly terrifying thing for the hyena or for the lions. So it just kind of petered out into a bit of a stalemate. Right, we're joining the TV audience again in 10 seconds. So I'll go silent for a little while, which will look a bit odd to you when they come back to us. And welcome back, everybody. So that's, of course, a superfluous welcome back because you're all with us already and it wasn't actually an advert break. Now, all the way from Florida, the warmth of the southern state of Florida on the east coast, well, east and southern coast, I suppose, of America. Thank you for telling us where you're from, Jen. It's really important to us to know where you are from. Jen, you want to know why it is that hyenas will move their dens. Various reasons, Jen. We think possibly to do with disease. So once a particular den is used for quite a long time, the parasite build-up inside the actual hole around the den will be enormous. It'll start to smell, so it'll attract other predators, and they move to get away from that disease and that smell. And secondly, if they're really badly disturbed at a particular den, they'll probably move to a place where they can be a little less disturbed. Those are hyena tracks. Well, that's a good thing. We're heading towards the hyena den. Okay, Peter is off to Arathusa. He's found something with large horns, and here's the leopard track. We'll keep looking for these leopards and hyenas, everyone. Peter's got a buffalo. Let's go across and get an update.
It's always great if you can start when you guys jump in a vehicle with a leopard orchid and then end with a leopard track. We are just sitting with some buffalo here. This is beautiful. Both VM and myself, we love backlight. I mean, we're looking towards the sun there, and just gives this soft, sort of beautiful glow to everything. And whether it's Brent backlit or a buffalo backlit, both can look good in that. Sorry guys, I'm just in a good mood, so if I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek this morning and I'm making some jokes that, for those of you that don't know me yet, they tend to be very dry, so you might not, yo, well spotted! Yo, sorry, I was going to say, if you don't know my sense of humor, it might be a bit dry sometimes, but this is brilliantly spotted, and this is spotted by one of the lovely ladies in Final Control, Nikki, who's directing this morning, actually spotted that first. Well, she's the first one that shouted out. Remember guys, if you spot this, or if you see something that we haven't mentioned, like a yellow-billed oxpecker, or like a leopard in the grass and no one's talking about it, please let us know. Whoever spots it first, you know, it's always nice. In this case it was Nikki. If you want to let us know, you can let us know by using the hashtag Safari Live and say, you know, yellow-billed oxpecker or leopard jumping up and down. No, that is quite cool actually. Now, for those of you that don't know what we're going on about, it's unfortunately a little bit far to show you in detail, but that little bird that VM was showing you just now, as I said, it's just a bit too far. And if I go closer now, these buffalo will start getting up because they're starting to get up already. But you can see the sort of yellow in the beak of that little guy. Now the oxpeckers that we talk about most, so I'm just listening to the game drive as well. Normally we see the red-billed oxpeckers, they're the species that you see the most. The yellow-billed oxpecker is actually endangered. In fact, this is probably the first time I'm seeing one in, well, since before, sort of long time ago at Djuma, so probably 7 years or something. It looks like he's enjoying a sleep rather than finding food on the buffalo. There's a little bachelor group, all males. You see the one on the left there is busy starting its morning routine. And if you look carefully, you'll see he's rubbing his horns up and down that tree trunk, and that's what he was doing. Rubbing those bosses, those big shields on the. But the horn is attached to the skull by bone, so it's actually part of the head, almost like a honeycomb structure, the bosses, because they have to take a lot of impact when they're fighting with other buffalo, and then that horn is then covered with a fingernail-like sheath, like a keratin skin, if you want, or sheath over the horns, not skin. The sheath is the better explanation. Very tough, but they have to maintain it. They have to clean it, and they have to rub it up and down like that one was doing now. We were looking at it to get those tree sap, all the oils and things from the horns into the horn. And this guy's horns, by the look of it, still a bit muddy. So a little bit later on, he'll do the same thing again. In fact, the buffalo itself is quite muddy. There's places with good grazing. They can help each other sort of spot and chase lions away if they need to. Just listening there to the radio is also just listening to the game drives. Looks like there's two oxpeckers. Okay, yes. A little bit forward. All the game drives getting active as well. I'm just listening. We now in Arathusa Game Reserves, which is slightly to the western side from Djuma. And it seems that the guys are going out at 5:30. It would be the time for the game drives to leave. So I'm going to go a little bit forward. There we go. One of the things over the years of guiding, you might get a slightly better look at those two oxpeckers, the two yellow-bills. In summertime, you want to be out as early as you can because it gets hot, and once it gets hot, the activity of the wildlife goes down. So early morning is the best time, but we've also found that to wake people up anything earlier than 5 o'clock even though they are interested and keen to get into the bush. But before 5 o'clock, if you wake up at 4:30, and at the moment all of us are waking up between 3:30 and 4 in the morning, you have to be really committed to the idea of where you're going. So the lodges normally start no earlier than 5:30 because they only wake the guest at 5. So that was a long explanation to explain that. But luckily, all the Spartans out here. Members, pride members, pack members, team members, you can use any of those words. We're all up at about anything, as I said, between 3:30 and 4. So that we can be wheels turning by 5. Actually 4:30. That's a very long explanation about our daily routine, which you're probably not that interested in, but interesting nonetheless. Nice bit of a mud bath there. If we were buffalo like these guys, which luckily we're not. For instance, they don't drink coffee in the morning. I love coffee in the morning. But that would be one of your sort of routines for, if not the morning, somewhere in the day. And a couple of these bulls actually look like they had a fresh roll in this. So this is nice mud. Well guys, let's start a little thing. I love this. This is Sandy and Teresa. Good morning guys. Nice to have you on drive, and nice to have you on drive for the next couple of days as well. Sandy and Teresa just letting us know that they're off tomorrow, so they can join us for the drive. And let's, every now and again over the last various times and years, we've done these things where we say, well, let's have something that we all have in common. In other words, we can all shout Africa because we love Africa. Don't do that now. But that's something I know we've done a number of times. But Sandy and Teresa, you guys are happy because tomorrow morning you can join us for the whole drive because it's your day off. Happy for you. And I'm very happy this morning because I had a little bit longer sleep than the previous night, so I'm feeling great. It's perfect temperature. I love being out in the mornings, just in buffalo, looking for leopard. So that's my reason for being happy. Those of you that feel like it, you don't have to. For those of you that feel like it, so those of you that maybe never sent a message in, let's do a couple of hashtag Safari Lives, or a bunch of them. Or you can email it into questions@WildEarth as well. Just let us know why you're happy. Why are you happy to be on safari? Why are you happy just in life in general? Let's get some good news over the Bush Telegraph this morning for me. So let us know, why are you happy? Well, I can tell you why you're going to be happy if you're not. And we'll get back to when you jump on the vehicle with us later on. I'll run through a few of the responses we get from you guys. But for now, put it this way, you'll be happy shortly. Enjoy.
Look everybody, my first time to spend with this little cub. It's come out of his hole. That's the hole in which, well, I think this is probably also a female, was hiding yesterday when the lions arrived. She's suckling from her mum at the moment. And just wonderful to spend a little bit of time. I think that's probably the 6-month-old in the background there. Still nice and cool, so they're a bit active. Ooh. I hope she'll come back out again. Some discipline being meted out. Lots of bird song that you can hear. And while we wait for the little one to come out again, there's a weaver's nest being built just above the hyena's den. I'm really confused as to why they should have chosen that particular spot. There it is. You can hear that there's not, in fact, the sound of African drums in the background. That is the bearded woodpeckers having a territorial drum off.
Often leaving the area.
Isn't that lovely? That nest is amazing. Construction and the weaver is... Just mentioned the bearded woodpeckers tapping away.
Guys, sorry, we've got you here quickly. And he's trotting away. We're going to try and get a closer look at him again. He's heading down towards the pan, but that's a side striped jackal, which is, we more often see the black-backed jackal. You see the little white tail tip, slightly far away, and that's a plover that's harassing it. It's a crown plover or lapwing. Basically making it very clear what it feels or how it feels about that jackal. So what we're going to do is just go around. We have to drive up a ways and then go around, try and see him again. This is a beautiful open area. This is the airstrip, as you can see, running there. And this is sort of for localized little flights. But back to the hyena, that was beautiful. And if we get another look at this jackal, we'll get you back here.
Right, we're still here, everybody, waiting to see. I'm not sure why that big female there chased the others down. Well, she certainly chased the 6-month-old down into the hole, and her baby followed. But it was almost as if she was saying, go down there might be a threat somewhere around. And I'll keep looking around to see if those lions don't reappear. Let's just sit here for a little bit longer. Oh, there's something going on. Very, very alert. Beautifully lit up in the golden light there. And Nancy, your question about whether the mother of the older cub, i.e. who we think is the matriarch of this clan, has she been seen around recently? Yes, Nancy, she has. We saw her yesterday. She was part of the vanguard that put those lions to eventual flight from here. Well, not so much flight as an amble away, but she was definitely here with a nasty scar across her back. She was lying at the angle that one is now. You'd be able to see the scar that runs across her back. She's looking particularly moth-eaten at the moment. I think she's quite old, not long for this world. Her hips were sticking out. Her fur is very manky. Her ears look like they've been through a combine harvester. So she's not looking in great shape. But that's pretty typical for a hyena. They have very hard lives, they do. But I don't see her here now. So we're going to continue sitting here. In about a minute's time, we'll head off for another little commercial break. Have to pay our bills, but we'll stay here and keep you posted. I don't think it will be too long, hopefully, before that youngster comes out, if the mother stays. If the mother goes off foraging, which is quite possible, or she'll go off and lie in the shade somewhere else, it's possible that the others won't come out of that hole. But I think it's definitely worth sitting here while those woodpeckers are caught tapping away behind us. All the birds are being very territorial at the moment because the summer is upon us and it's a great time for them to be breeding. Oh, that's just amazing, that drumming sound. So as the woodpeckers drum, we will see you in just a little while. Right, well, obviously we haven't gone anywhere, everyone. We're in an imaginary ad break. It's like living in Never Never Land in this place at the moment. I do hope that those youngsters come out. I'll be very upset if that's all I can see of them. Now, a brilliant observation and question from Marilyn in California. Marilyn, you want to know why it is that this one, who was a seemingly lower ranking female than the mother of the 6-month-old cub, why it is that she has nipped the 6-month-old and sent her scuttling away. Surely she should have priority. Yes, Marilyn, certainly if the matriarch was around, that would be the case. but it's simply about size in this case. She didn't obviously want to be bugged by the littler hyena, and because the 6-month-old is, well, just so much smaller, she wouldn't have been afraid to give her a little bit of discipline. What I'm going to do is just drive around the other side. I'm quite interested to see if this hole extends through. There's another entrance on the other side there. Let's just go and see if there isn't another entrance there, and perhaps the others are around that side. Then we will come back here. I think it's going to pay off to be quite patient here and just sit and wait for a while. Jennifer in Toronto, absolutely. Very nice question from you and very astute observation. You said, could it be that the current mother that we've been watching is in fact also a daughter of the matriarch hyena? Yes, Jennifer, that is well possible. So, it might be that one there is going to become the new matriarch of the clan at some stage. Yeah, it will be. Elephants have made a huge mess here, pushing trees over. I can't see anything here. So here's the other entrance hole just in front of us here, and I don't see any kind of activity there, so I'm not sure if it goes through the mound. Eventually, if they spend long enough at a den like this, they will dig through.
Looks like maybe it's from them area last night. I'm not quite really sure.
Alright, let's go back to our original spot. Woodpeckers are still calling away. It's just so wonderful. And the heat is already starting to build. I think it's going to be a hot one. There is the back end of the hyena we were looking at, the mother. I think we're going to spend a bit more time waiting and just seeing. And just remember, everybody, I'm sorry, we will be cutting broadcast in 10 minutes so that we can go to our rehearsals, which is, if you think this is like Never Never Land, you should try that. But that's what we're going to be doing. So please bear with us. Like I say, from Friday, that won't be the case. Are we right then, right? Shall I go forward a bit? Okay. Watch the aerial, otherwise instead of not broadcasting just for the next couple of hours, we'll never broadcast. We're going to reverse in there. Welcome back, everybody. We've been sitting here at the hyena den. Obviously, I'm being ridiculous now. We're back at the TV broadcast in Neverland. Just getting our timings correct.
Sure.
Now, the reason I'm reversing in here is not because I think that we're going to have to make a hasty retreat frontwards. It's simply because what it means is that I can look at the hyenas while and then talk to you in a more convenient angle. Excuse me. A lot of allergies around at the moment, but all the pollen. Jeffrey in Texas. Very nice question. You want to know the woodpeckers also have territorial calls as opposed to just that tapping. Yes, they do. The bearded woodpecker doesn't use it much, but yes, they do have quite a strong call. I do hope that something other than this happens here this morning. It would be a profound disappointment to me if it doesn't. But you can hear those woodpeckers going crazy. And you can hear lots and lots of different birds around here. Right. You can see the scarring on that hyena. She's obviously been quite badly scarred in fights, and that's totally normal for hyenas. They will fight with lions, they squabble with each other. They're not afraid of a hard box now and again. Slightly worried that the timing is such that, you know, it's starting to get hot already, you know. I wonder if those little ones are going to come out. Oh, lovely breeding herd of buffalo somewhere with someone. We'll see you just now.
Well, awesome hyena, and we had some buffalo further back. We've got buffalo again here, but this is not a bachelor group like we saw a few minutes back. This is a breeding group. As we can see by looking at this youngster, this one will be about a year old. Beautiful calf, this. You know, many people in Africa, including of my family, or the way I grew up, often grew up quite close to the land and often close to cattle. We were farming cattle to some form or another from when I was very young, and often when I look at the big herds like this, it reminds me of that, because these are the cattle of the bush, if you want. These guys can form big herds. I'm quite keen. I don't know which herd this is. They're coming from the south. It's not a herd that I would have necessarily have seen over the last few times I've been here. I'm sure the guys that drive here more often see them. But it looks like quite a big herd. I'm guessing 200-300, maybe more. It's quite thick around here, so we can't see the extent of the herd in one view. A little bit of ruminating early in the morning. This is one of the females. And this is another example. If you look at the bosses or the horns again, something we will probably still, or hopefully still, look at with Hayden if there's opportunity. Although maybe not for this morning. I just forgot. We're busy with our Big Cat Week preparations as well. So this morning again will be a slightly shorter drive. We'll only be driving, to be fair, another 10 minutes. Some of the other preparations, unfortunately, at the moment, not ready to share it with you yet. We must still see what we're doing, but towards the weekend you can join us on all of it, as always. Anyway, that's enough of me sort of digressing, as I tend to do. The females don't have such heavy horns. Those bosses on the front not as thick. So there's a female, perfect example, eating the short grass. Obviously this bit of rain we've had has had everything starting to grow. In another couple of weeks there'll be lots of grazing around. And if you look just up from her a little bit, there's a big male, big bull, and that shows you how much heavier the horns are. There's the bull, and that's not even a big one yet. He's probably about 7-8 years old. Those bosses will still get heavier. So there's the perfect comparison. Female in the bottom, male in the top, and you can see the difference in horns. Still very strong, make no mistake. Female buffalo, or the cows as they're called, those horns are still very strong, and they could easily so I might have to correct myself. That's actually a young male that's lying down there. Let me go a little bit forward so we can actually give you the perfect comparison. That's a young bull. I was going to say those horns look quite thick. Alright, so let's do this again. Big male in the top, young one in the front, obviously with the little straight horns, and then bottom left, that's a mature female. And those horns are strong enough to be defensive weapons. Awesome. Awesome, well, guys, we'll definitely try and talk about this a little bit later, but at the moment I'm sort of hovering out on the edge of radio signal, so I can't always hear the detail of the information. But Nikki is letting us know that many of you have replied back, and I will chat about this later when I can hear you, but someone, and I couldn't catch your name, but said they're very happy because they're actually coming to Djuma soon for their safari. Cheryl, fantastic. That's a good reason to be happy. I want to go a little bit more forward. These guys are lying down, but there's more buff up ahead. I just want to get an idea of the extent of this herd. I look forward to hearing more of the why we are happy this morning news. To do so when I do better. Oh, this is when he's nice heavy horns. Beautiful bull. Not that old yet, but certainly looking at the thickness of those bosses, the thickness of the skull, also looking at his sort of body, you can see that he's going to, when he fills out with that final bit of muscle that he gets in maturity, he will be a big bull. I'm going to show you quickly, we've got very little time left. We're going to take a slow drive through this herd. 1 minute or so left, but I just want to take you through all through there, further up ahead still. That's VM there. Sleepy buffalo, more in the back. Yo, this is a big herd. Lovely. I saw a herd once, well actually more than once, but a few times at Djuma that we estimated at a pretty close count of 1,500 buffalo. There's a lovely little group. So yeah, great herd of buffalo. We're going to be back here this afternoon. Buffalo like this often attract the attention of big cats, so we will be making our way back here again for the afternoon. But for now, I want to say goodbye. Thank you very much for joining us on Drive this morning. Ooh, that sun is bright. My name is Peter and enjoyed it with you, and see you this afternoon.